all you creatures of the night. This is Matt Johnson, with always
Peter Hansen.
And this week, we'll be recording the mini episode of It Records, as promised, as we usually do. This is the third installment that we have. If you haven't checked out the other ones, you should. We talk about directors that influenced us, and we talk about our favorite subgenres of the horror. But this week we're switching it up. Pete, I'm pretty excited about this one. I don't know about you, but Pete and I compiled a list this week of 10 films each. 5 we are going to say are either overrated horror films, and the other 5 are underrated horror films. What Pete and I are going to do is go back and forth. We'll name a movie, and then the other person has to guess if they labeled it overrated or underrated. And I'm sure there'll be some discrepancies, and we'll have some banter back and forth, and I'm sure we'll agree on some. And hell, maybe go ahead.
And some slapping if we could.
If we could, if you were close to me, Pete, I'm sure there's one or two I'll probably slap you on tonight. But hey, I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we had actually the same movie on the same list. That I'm kind of looking forward to that. If we choose the same movie that's either overrated or underrated.
I don't know if that's gonna happen because I don't know. I don't think it is.
I kind of want it. There's one movie that I have in mind that I think could, off the top of my head, and I'm hoping it turns up. Not gonna say it. Not gonna say it because it could, but there's one movie. I mean, with that, Pete, did I explain the rules well enough that
you explained it absolutely perfectly?
Okay, that's what we're going with today. So, Pete, without further ado, I'm gonna allow you to start. You go first, and I'll try to guess.
All right, numero uno, The Birds.
Okay. By Hitchcock, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna go underrated.
Overrated.
Damn it! It was a pickle with that one. It was a pickle. I wasn't sure if you were gonna come at me with some like cinematic worship of the birds, and people didn't see it for what it is. But all right, I could see it being overrated. I'm not a big supporter of it, I guess, as being a great horror picture.
I would say I definitely need to rewatch it again, but like from just what I remember watching it, man, I just really did not enjoy it that much.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's up there with. It's the same. It's literally the same premise as Birdemic. Have you heard of Birdemic? Which is an awful movie, but it's the same idea. These birds go crazy and attack us.
I wouldn't say The Birds is that bad, but
I mean, I just said the same premise. Just the same premise is the birds are attacking us. But okay, like definitely now that it's like fully processing, I could see that movie being it is overrated.
And I'll have some people who would very disagree with me on that one. Even a friend of mine would be like, "You're
adamant,
crazy."
Yeah. No, I mean it's a classic for sure. You'll get some resistance, but me, I could see it. I could definitely see that one being overrated. Okay, Pete. Here I go. I'll just choose one at random.
I'm ready.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh man, that one could go either way. I think you're gonna say overrated.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
You are correct, Pete. 1 for 1. Batting 1,000.
I'm so mad at that answer.
And I knew he would be, ladies and gentlemen.
I fucking love that movie.
I know, man. I know you do, but
I'm keeping calm right now, but it's the first one, so this is gonna be the calm discussions.
We're gonna be civil. We're adults. No, I mean,
but
please voice your dissension. Voice your dissension.
Okay. Well, it's another going back to like Urban Legend review, where it was this like another Scream ripoff.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But, I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is a better film than Urban Legend. It feels more fun, and it's a very teen movie. And for some reason, teen 90s movies, I fucking love them. Like, they're just so ridiculous. And then, like, maybe it's just like my 90s kid at heart is just like, just going back to nostalgia and the pure ridiculousness of it all.
Sure. No, I can get that, but as you said, pure ridiculousness of it all. That's what gets me. I mean, it just seems like I never got into it really. I mean, watching them, and I still Know What You Did Last Summer, and the third one, I'll always Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, that's just awful.
Right. As most do as they continue down the progression. But I never got into the series, and I always thought it was kind of a watered-down version of Scream or a 90s slasher type film, and it never did it for me. And I know, Pete, as yourself, there's a huge fan base to it, and a lot of people go out and see it, but for me, I think it's just it's a copycat type script that took off.
Okay.
Pete, you look so mad. I'm sorry. I had to get it out of the way.
All right. Are you ready for my number 2?
Yes, I am.
Reanimator.
Oh, Pete, this better be what I think it is. I'm going underrated. No, you son of a bitch.
Overrated.
That movie is a treasure, Pete. That's some great 1980s slapstick horror, meta horror. I mean, I love that picture. I think deep down you knew that. But please,
I absolutely did.
Oh, but please tell me why you think it's overrated. Is it too much? Is it too much of a?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just couldn't get into it, honestly. Mm-hmm. And I heard such great things about it before I watched it, and then when I watched it, I was like, "This is it. This is what everyone's talking about." I don't know what I expected.
Okay.
But I wasn't really entertained that much when I saw it.
I got you. Maybe a little bit too much hype went into it.
Yeah.
It's not a top shelf writing material or classic literature type writing, but it was just it's almost like it's a funny, almost in the same category as Fright Night, almost, where it plays on themes and tropes of the genre, and kind of it's really gory as well, more gory than Fright Night. But I love that movie. I laugh at it every time, and it's one of my favorites. But it's your list, Pete.
But I like Bride of Reanimator and From Beyond, which is pretty much a sequel as well.
Extensions, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And I like those movies.
I mean,
so I don't know where that came from.
no, that's fine, Pete. I'll remain civil with your decision.
You're being very civil right now. I'm kind of surprised. It's still early in the list.
I know,
but
we've struck a chord.
We're striking some nerves here. Yes, we are.
In the first two.
I feel very targeted with that first one. It felt very targeted against me.
I plead the fifth. On that one. Pete, I'll go into my second one, I guess, if you're ready for it. If you're done,
I'm ready.
If you're done shitting on Reanimator. Okay. I'm trying to pick a good one. Black Christmas.
I'm gonna say underrated. You find it underrated?
Pete, you're right. You're right again. I think it's an underrated film compared to the other movies of that genre and at that time period. And 2 for 2.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, I knew you were a fan of that one. I guess I had to throw you a bone in there, but no, it's really, I think, undervalued, and it was the first slasher technically in America because it came out before Halloween, right? Correct? Which is the movie that's usually seen as the beginner of that slasher craze.
Yeah, I actually want to say it even came out before Texas Chainsaw by a couple of months, if I remember correctly.
I think they were both, yeah. Because Texas, that's another one that may or may not crop up on this list as. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that one came out before Halloween, and I love that movie. But yeah, Black Christmas gets like just pushed aside, I feel like, and people forget about it. But it really helped shape the slasher genre in the 70s.
I feel like a lot of people around our age, or maybe even older, like horror fans, like 25 to 30-year-olds, really go back and appreciate some of the older 70s forgotten gems. I feel like they're better at going back into older movies that got overlooked a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I'd concur with that statement, Pete. That was a pretty easy one. It was the first uncontended one, I think, so far.
Yeah, that one went. It was very mild compared to the other four choices or three.
Yeah.
So you ready for my third one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The Entity.
I got to get one of these right. I'm 0 for 2. Overrated.
Wrong again.
God bless America.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen The Entity, no.
Maybe that will explain some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think it's definitely one that goes underappreciated because I had no idea about this movie until my friend found it and he was like, "Let's watch this."
Mm-hmm.
And it got made. It was like in production before the Poltergeist. If
I'm familiar with the
remember this
Poltergeist,
correctly.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. But they're very similar movies, and they were in production around the same time. And I think Entity was first.
Okay.
Where obviously Poltergeist became more Spielbergy as a term, it gets thrown around.
You know, I totally know what you're saying when you say Spielberg. I get what you mean. Mm-hmm.
And Entity is way more intense and fucked up, I want to say, because it goes a little deeper into the messed up parts of a haunting, and it does it in a very creepy way. And it was one of the films that I watched at the time that really creeped me out. So
okay,
it's one that I want people to check out, and it's pretty hard to find. I mean, the only thing I know about is that like there's a Blu-ray of it that got put out a couple of years ago, and that's really there is about it.
Is it like a mirror type of movie of Poltergeist? Like you keep saying they came out around the same time. Is it like the same idea?
It was like in production around the same time, but it actually was released like 2 years later.
Okay.
So like I feel like that's what happened, is that it just got
washed over
overshadowed by Poltergeist because Poltergeist was such a huge success, and this one was just coming to the wayside.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll check it out then, Pete. Damn, 0 for 3. 0 for 3. Man, I'll see if you can bat 1,000 on this next one, Pete. Are you ready for numero 3? Numero trace. Let's be consistent.
I'm ready.
All right. The Conjuring.
Oh man, do you find it overrated, you fucking son of a bitch?
Is that your guess?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, Pete. I do find it to be overrated.
I am 3 for 3. Oh god damn it.
Yeah, 3 for 3. It seems like you have some holdouts with this one. I mean,
oh my god. I really like that movie. Come on, man, that movie's good.
I mean, it does some
things. It's
things.
a financial success and a critical success. It did,
Not. I mean, yeah. I mean, it made some money. It did some good stuff in the box office, and some people talked it up in the reviews. But for me, it just seemed like
I saw it opening day.
I think I actually saw it opening weekend as well. But yeah, I didn't hate it, but I think just the hype that it got, as you said, critical review, and the money it got, I didn't think it did anything extraordinary. I just thought I wasn't really too scared by it, or I kind of.
What? I was so scared watching that movie.
And no, not for me. I kind of just saw what I kind of predicted, like scenes that were gonna happen, which maybe took me out of it a little bit, and I just wasn't unnerved by it, and I kept hearing people saying that it was so scary, and people kept going back, and for me it was a little more of the same. Another
Wow.
yeah.
I am shocked. I just knew what you're gonna. I just feel like I just know you're gonna say almost because I'm 3 for 3 right now.
Yeah, yeah, you're reading me pretty well, but that's my opinion, Pete, and I'm sticking to it.
I mean, I value your opinion, but I just completely disagree with you on that one.
Well, disagree all you want, Pete,
Yeah.
but the verdict is in. That movie, overrated.
Okay, you don't have to be a dick about it. Jeez.
Pete, I'm getting real here. I'm 0 for 3. I got to start being.
I was very civil with you.
Well,
Except where I was like, you find it overrated, don't you? You son of a bitch.
yeah, you came at me pretty hard. Well,
All right. I got one for you.
all right. Is this your fourth one for me?
This is my fourth, yes.
Okay. All right. God, gotta get one of these.
Let the right one in.
Oh, this better be one answer. I don't think it's the one I'm thinking. I'm gonna say you think it's overrated.
You are absolutely correct.
I knew I'm gonna be correct, you son of a bitch. That movie's great. That movie's like, I'm talking about the original. Are you talking the American remake or the original?
No, I'm talking about the original.
In general, you think this movie's overrated?
I do.
No way. This is a great. I mean, I know I'm a vampire movie fan, but it's subtle.
I'm out for blood.
Oh, if any listeners are laughing at that, do not laugh at that. Do not award him a laugh. He just shit on a great movie. Pete, I gotta hear why. I mean, cinematography is great. It's a.
No, I'll give you
plot.
that.
Oh,
I'll give you the cinematography is great.
Okay, all right. What else will you give me about this movie? that it should be underrated?
No. I would say I would rewatch it to maybe reconsider my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I think why is that I watched it in class, which I think played a factor into it of me not watching it with a great crowd. All the students in my class, not the most savvy of horror fans, to say the least.
Sure.
And I found it very tiresome to watch it with such an audience that I don't know if they disdained the movie, but that was just the vibe I got, and I was kind of bored with it too. Because the vampire movies that I like are not many, but like Fright Night and Lost Boys, and I was like, they're really ridiculously they're like campy and funny and
They
gory.
are, yeah.
And those are the ones I like. So it was nice to see a different one, but I almost was like, it was like moving too slow for me.
All right, Pete.
But I would consider rewatching it and maybe changing my mind, but I don't know about that one.
All right. My next blog post, everybody, will be on Let the Right One In and why Pete should reconsider it. It's so good. It's an artful take on the vampire tale. There's a love story in it, Pete. There's 2 different love stories in it. Very unique perspectives on love stories. All right. That I could rant on that movie for a long time, but I'll move on. I'll digress.
I struck a nerve. I struck a big nerve on that one.
Hell yeah. You fucking did. Okay, Pete, I'll go with my fourth one for you now. Let's see if you can finally miss. Jeepers Creepers.
I'm gonna say you find it underrated.
Yeah. 4 for 4, yeah. I do. And judging by
I could read you like a motherfucking book.
Yeah, I know. I've got one. You've got all of them with ease. But judging by your reaction, are you on the same page, or do you think it's overrated?
I think it's incredibly average,
Okay.
where it doesn't really fit on either list for me. Where like I enjoyed it, and I don't really see why I got like I know a lot of people that like that movie actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was okay.
It's Justin Long is what it is. You can't stay away from those dreamy eyes of Justin Long.
He carries the movie for you.
Those peepers. Anyway. No, I think it's underrated, and I think you maybe even described it best, where it's kind of in limbo. But I give it even underrated, because for the first almost like 3/4 of that movie, I think it's a great horror film. Like, because you don't really know what's going on. You see the weird lair. You know something's tracking them down. It's something that's this mysterious force, this killer that's obviously murdering these things, and it's genuinely a terrifying idea, and you don't know. But it kind of loses that effect in like the final 2 scenes of the movie. When I don't know if anybody's not seen the movie, but you see the gargoyle type thing, and it kind of just loses all effect.
You're not a fan of the monster?
Not seeing it, and it was just like so up front, like you saw the whole thing, like in the jail cell. They shined the light on it, and it was just like. Then it lost its terror because you saw the monster.
How about that scene when I think it was a policewoman? She says, "Jeepers creepers, where'd you get those beepers?" I'm like, really? Are you singing the song right now?
It's a catchy tune.
Are you singing this 1940 song, or whenever the hell that fucking song came out?
It's a catchy tune, and it's a pretty catchy movie. I think it's doesn't get the credit it deserves.
You got the director who's a piece of shit.
Who?
Do you know about that director?
No.
He's a questionable man for sure, as he has been arrested for. I think he's a sexual predator.
I'm looking him up right now.
I think of children, if I'm remembering correctly.
Hey. All right.
And he's somehow making a third one.
Is he really?
Yep. At least there's talks about it.
No, Pete. I did not know that. I'm looking at it now, and you are correct.
Did I just ruin that movie for you?
Yeah, that puts a whole different spin on it.
I mean, you could still like the movie, even with. I mean,
sure.
I like some Roman Polanski movies and Woody Allen movies, even though that's not horror. But I like some Woody Allen movies.
Yeah.
If we're going down that route.
Yeah, if we're going down directors you'd rather not watch anymore because of what you know of them as people. But Pete, that's my fourth one, Jeepers Creepers, that I will defend as underrated.
Okay, yeah.
Even with your new information.
I'm sorry that I did that to you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Cry myself to sleep later about my decisions in life.
Number 5, the Banshee chapter.
Underrated.
You got it.
Yes. Coming back.
Have you seen that one?
No.
As far as I remember on our recording date, it is on Netflix.
Okay.
I highly recommend it to you. Excuse me.
You're excused.
It's a very odd film, I would say. It's about like there's drug use in it that like kind of like questionable like what is reality a little bit, and it kind of introduces that like the government was kind of like part of this like huge trial thing about testing out acid and seeing what its like effects were on people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some kind of like actual like article about it, and like there's a huge conspiracy theory about it. That's a whole nother story. but this movie kind of plays on that, and it's really creepy. I found it extremely creepy, and the fact that you just don't know what's real and what's not,
Mm-hmm.
I think plays really well in this movie.
Okay.
And there's like facts for like both sides, so you're just like, man, I don't know what the fuck is happening, and it's freaking me out.
All right.
So that is the Banshee chapter, and anyone listening, and you, Matt, should check it out.
Okay, Pete. I'll check it out. Did you say when it was made?
I want to say 2013. it came
Okay.
out.
So, yeah, relatively.
Pretty recent.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check it out now. Pete, are you ready for my fifth?
Yes, I am.
Are you sure, Pete?
Yeah.
Okay. The Descent.
What are you trying to do with me on this one?
I'm just coming up with movies that I think are either overrated or underrated.
I know you know I'm a fan of that movie.
Are you, Pete?
And
do you like
yes,
that movie?
I am.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I wasn't for sure.
And I was pretty sure that you liked that movie too.
Uh-huh.
So, but I was like, is it possible for you to like the movie but not think it warrants the kind of praise against from horror fans? I'm gonna say you think it's underrated because there's not enough appreciation for it. Maybe. Don't give me that smirk. I hate you. I hate you right now.
Pete, I think this movie is underrated. You're right.
Okay,
You're right, Pete.
jeez. You scared the crap out of me on that one.
I know I had you
I was
hold.
more scared right now than I was watching the Banshee chapter.
No, I had to bring that one in because I know we both share an appreciation for it, but I wanted to hold you out there and make you think I thought it was overrated. But no, I really do think, and I know it had some success when it came out, but I do think it's still underappreciated. I think the premise was good. I enjoyed it. I was terrified at moments, and I definitely enjoyed the ending of the film, which I wasn't expecting. And I think people often forget that it was even made sometimes when I bring it up to people. I think it's underappreciated.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the Iggy Pop. But when Iggy Pop / had sex with a bat creatures in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Someone did compare them to Iggy Pop, didn't they?
That was the director's vision. He
Oh, yeah,
that was his
right.
literal vision. He said, I want these creatures to look like a combination of a bat and Iggy Pop. And that's the creatures you'll see in The Descent. That was his vision.
But don't see part 2. My God, that's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, many sequels, and it happens. It happens to the best of them.
I mean, as a whole, I think I like the idea of franchises, which could, we were talking about, bring up another mini episode discussion, but
Yeah.
this one's already getting pretty long. Because it's a mini episode that's
Oh,
becoming-
shit, it is, and it's like a full episode length.
It's like just becoming a full episode length, exactly. So
That-
it's just pretty much an episode at this point. And we're about halfway done the list.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I would say next mini episode, Matt and I are going to talk about horror franchises and,
Yeah.
maybe as a whole, or maybe pick out our favorites. I don't know. We haven't really decided yet.
Yeah, but it'll be something along those lines. Horror franchises.
But to keep things moving along as quickly as they are.
Yeah, we're on what? Number 6 now?
Yeah.
We're halfway through, and it's been about a full episode length. Yes, we can cut it up. We'll cut it up in post. We'll make it too many episodes or something.
To be continued.
Yeah.
All right, Loved Ones is my next pick.
I've gotten your last two, right? I'm 2 for 5.
You are 2 for 5.
Okay. That movie's got to be overrated, Pete.
Ooh, you missed your streak.
God damn.
It is underrated.
You think it's
underappreciated?
You think so, huh?
I do. It is on
Please.
a lot of lists for horror fans, but I think not enough, mainstream audiences know anything about this movie.
Yeah.
And I am a huge fan. It is very brutal and a very gory film, and I was it was one of the films I watched. I think I watched it around the time it came out. And I was like, damn, this is a horror movie that shocked me. And not too many of those did it back then. And that was
Sure.
like 5 years ago. So I'm even more desensitized now. Just like a freak.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay. Okay. I guess I can agree with that. I didn't know which way to lean.
Are you a fan? Have you seen it or?
No, I've seen it. I didn't know which way you'd lean with it. I could go towards underrated. Definitely on the premises that you said it's underappreciated. I don't think many people know about it as much, except maybe true horror fans are into the genre, and it doesn't get the light that it deserves. In that regard, I could see it as being definitely underappreciated.
And it's a very brutal film.
You think so?
It's pretty brutal.
No, it's intense. It's very much intense.
And, if you could just show it, like, to the people who loved all those torture porn of the mid-2000s, you'd be like, well, here's another movie that's
check.
pretty fucked up.
Prepare to have your mind blown.
Nice.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for rewarding me there. All right. Oh, is it my turn now? You just give me one?
Yeah. Yes.
Ugh. All right. I'm 2 for 6. Let's see if you can get my next one. Friday the 13th. The original one, not the remake or anything.
Yeah. It's funny. That's on my list as well.
See, I knew we would have one. That we'd have. Okay. What do you think mine is?
Do you think it's overrated?
I think it's overrated.
I completely agree with you.
You do?
Yes.
We both have it as overrated?
I thought I put it on the list to piss you off because I do think it's overrated, but I thought it would piss you off.
No, I got it on here as overrated as well. See, I called
Wow.
it. I call it at the get-go. It's gonna happen, and we agreed on the film. Yeah,
That was my last one on the list. I was gonna end with that one. I was like, I'm gonna get mad on this one.
No, sir, I'm on the same page.
Wow, that is shocking.
Yeah, both of us think it's overrated. Are you thinking it's more overrated because you wanted to get me, or do you think it's also
No, I think it's overrated.
Yeah, me too. I think the original is very much overrated for what it was. I mean, I think it was very lackluster and
It started something great and had a great premise,
sure.
and the reveal is like probably the only thing that's really great about it.
Yeah, which doesn't play a part in any of the rest of the series, the rest of the franchise. The reveal is for people who haven't seen the original, it's his mother is the killer, Jason's mother, and Jason doesn't even make an appearance until really the very last shot of the movie, and then
He doesn't even wear the mask until the third movie.
yeah. So the whole lore that people might think of Jason is way down the series, and the first one is very much I don't know, just it was lackluster, I said, but slow, and the reveal is the biggest part. And they could
It
do
has some
much.
pretty good kills, like they're entertaining, but like throughout overall, it's just like you said, it's kind of like it's already like a run of the mill slasher right before like the slasher genre even got started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like that statement was pretty bold for me to say.
We're going to be getting a lot of comments on that, Pete.
But I would say I really enjoy the final chapter. That's one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies.
What number is that in the series?
That's actually the fourth one.
I thought so. I know people can't see this, but I'm holding up 4 fingers.
Even though it's called the final chapter, it is the fourth one.
Yeah, because they didn't make any other
out
movies.
Out of 10, and then there's a remake in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, they really jumped the gun there on being the final chapter.
They're like, okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Now it's like, okay, this franchising is dying. Let's go with the final chapter. Oh shit, I make a ton of money. Let's make another one and then call it the new beginning and make it even fucking shittier.
Brilliant. Oh, isn't that the movie? Was it this? I know it wasn't the first one, but was it the second one where Corey Feldman gets his first appearance ever in a movie?
Is it his first appearance ever in a movie?
Is it his first movie? I mean, he's a kid. He's a child.
He is very young in it. I guess I can't remember. It's got to be before Goonies.
Oh, it's definitely before Goonies. He's like 6 in the Friday the 13th movies.
He's that young?
Yeah, he's like a kid. Like, I mean, he looks like a. Yeah, that's a great description. He looks like a kid. No, he's like a child. Like he's a toddler almost in those movies. In Goonies,
wait, I'm remembering correctly. He's in the Goonies, right?
Yeah, he's like a teenager in Goonies. Goonies is like later 80s, almost 90s.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And the second Friday the 13th would have been like 82, because 1980 was Friday the 13th #1, right?
Yeah, and then 82, and then I think the next one came out 83.
Yeah.
They like pretty much. They almost came out every year in the 80s.
Yeah. So, yeah, though he was definitely in those before the Goonies. He was young, but we'll get off Feldman. You guys can do the research. He was young. He was in those movies.
He's in Lost Boys.
Yeah, he's in Lost Boys. And
The Burbs, another underrated, but not on my list.
Yeah. All right, Pete. It is your well. Technically, that was a double because you knocked one off your list too.
That's true.
But it's your turn to throw one at me.
I guess I threw in The Burbs in there since that was even on my list. Like I had like a little comparison side by side. And I completely forgot about The Burbs until we talked about Corey Feldman.
I'm always glad I could help with my Corey Feldman banter.
Yeah, well, Tom Hanks is in it, so what's not to like?
That's fucking right, Tom Hanks. What a movie.
But my next one is, this one wasn't hard to pinpoint, but I did 1931 Dracula.
Okay, with it's not Bella. Is it Bela Lugosi?
It is Bela Lugosi.
Okay, good. I was like, that's not right. That was the name I had. Okay. Motherfucker, I feel like you're gonna say this is. You say it's overrated.
Yeah, I do.
You motherfucker! I knew you were gonna say it was overrated. Why? Why is this movie overrated?
So boring. It's so fucking boring. There's so many better Universal monsters in this fucking movie.
Then
the Wolfman. The Wolfman is way better.
Yeah, but
Creature from Black Lagoon. It's so much more entertaining.
That one's okay. That one's all right. And
that's way better than Dracula.
And you get Frankenstein and the Mummy and all those, but it has to hold some sort of cherished place that it was the first one. That it was it was the beginning of it all.
I want to watch the Spanish version of the original, which I hear is better.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie. See, I was stuck between Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola, which I really don't like.
Okay. All right.
Ooh, you're a fan of that one as well?
I'm a fan. Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is terrible in that movie.
Yeah, well, you can't You can't fault him. Keanu's not the best actor in anything.
I mean, you got Anthony Hopkins at least in that fucking movie.
And wait, Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's the Dracula, right?
Are you confusing? Wait.
What Dracula am I
that
thinking?
was- I think not Interview with the Vampire. Shadow of the Vampire?
I
Is
don't
he in
think so.
Shadow of the...
I think in Francis Ford Coppola's, I thought that was one Gary Oldman's in. Don't hold me to that.
Wait. No, okay. You're right. It is Gary Oldman. I was
Okay.
thinking of Willem Dafoe, who plays Dracula in Shadow of the Vampire.
Yes. Okay. Oh yeah, because that's Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's like...
When
a
John
meta
Malkovich
version
is in
of-
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a meta version of Nosferatu, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always get those confused for some reason.
Okay. All right. Now we're on the same page.
Both
But-
those Draculas are pretty fucking overrated.
With that being said, they both suck. Well, all right, Pete. I firmly disagree. I'll give you the credit that there was some good monster movies from Universal at that time, but Dracula takes the cake, and Dracula was the first one.
Wolfman is better. If we're talking, since I'll give you that creature came
Make
out
it-
a little late. It's unfair, but Wolfman is
Makeup and
miles-
costume
miles ahead.
is much better. It was the first. Wolfman was the first horror movie, to be nominated for any Oscar for makeup and costume.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hmm. Yeah, so that was. I'll give you that. It did have that to it, but
Got Lon Chaney Jr. Come on, you got some
Uh.
fucking, get some hierarchy.
Da,
of
da, da, da,
classic-
da, da.
Fuck you.
This is gibberish to me. This is nothing. It holds nothing to Dracula. Pete,
What's,
for the audience,
what's your-
Pete is giving me a glare down after that one. Sorry, Pete. You woke up the demon in me, but I'll shut up. Continue.
Oh,
Are you done?
Isn't he? Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you want to hear more reason why I
No,
don't like Dracula.
nope. Don't need any more of that. Dracula's great. Next movie. The first Paranormal Activity. Not the whole series, the first one.
I think you think it's overrated.
Yes, Pete, you're correct again. Like you always
Am I-
are.
Am I on a roll right now, or am I not?
I think you've gotten all of them. You've gotten every single one, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
You got Friday the 13th. You got Paranormal. I know what you did last summer. Conjuring.
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers, Descent, and Black Christmas.
Yeah.
So I've missed almost all of yours. But yeah, I think it's overrated. I think I threw this one in there because I think you would know my feelings
Wait.
toward this movie.
You guessed that I thought Dracula was overrated, but you were really upset by that.
Yeah, that's true. I knew where you were going with it, but I wanted you to say underrated. Yeah, similar similar to almost Let the Right One In. No, I guess underrated. I guess forget it. I'm gonna get mad if I go back to it. Paranormal Activity.
I'm throwing down on these vampire movies without even realizing it.
Yeah, we did a whole mini episode on my favorite subgenre, Pete, of vampires. But Paranormal Activity, way overrated. I despise the whole series.
That is some hard words already.
I hate it. I did the first movie because that was like I remember that being a huge success and like people crowding to the theater, and I mean that's what spawned the other 5 or 6. I think going on 6 now.
Let's see. There's obviously 1, 2, and 3, and I thought Ghost Dimension was 4, but maybe it's the 5th one.
I thought 5 was Ghost Dimension.
The marked ones is the 4th one, and
then
then there's Ghost Dimension.
And I think they're making a 6th one, right?
I thought it was done.
It's done? Okay. Well, at least 5 pure shit. In my opinion.
With that being said, I've only seen the second one, and I enjoyed it.
See, I hated them, Pete. I saw the
Well-
second one too, and to me, it's just like
I saw it way after the craze,
Mhm.
so I was just like, yeah, I'll watch Paranormal Activity, see what it's like. The second one, it just all jump scares, and I was like, oh, I jumped at those. I was entertained. That
Yeah.
movie's pretty solid.
Hmm. Yeah, and that was one of my big beefs. Is I think it relies too much on like the idea that you're in the POV of the Steadicam, and it's going to be a jump scare, which is a cheap ploy, and which is the whole premise of the movies. And people kept flocking to it, and it makes me so mad. So it's very overrated, in my opinion.
I mean, that's a fair statement. And they treated, I feel like they treated audiences as they were very dumb.
Yes, very dumb, and I just hate it almost as much as I hate you saying that The Right One's In was overrated, but not as much.
So this next one, if I may continue.
Oh, sure. Please. We need to keep pressing forward. I think we're at about 45 minutes, if you're still listening. I think we should wrap it up soon for the viewer.
Maybe we'll streamline this a little faster.
Yeah, we'll speed it up to like 0.15 speed, so we're going really fast.
This movie's from 1980s. It's called April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day. I have my general feeling on it, but I think you're going to go the opposite. I want you to say it's underrated.
I absolutely think it's underrated.
I knew you'd say it's underrated. Well, why, Pete? I want to... Please tell me.
Fucking love that movie. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a very early meta film, and it's kind of like not like a precursor to Scream, but almost a little bit where they just had a really fun with all the scares, and they got pretty dark at some of them too, and I just was throughout very entertained.
Okay. I could see that.
And I'm guessing you did not like this movie.
I didn't dislike it, Peter. I didn't dislike it. And I wouldn't go all the way to say that it's overrated, because I don't think many people appreciate it, but it was okay for me. I mean, it didn't do too much. I mean, it just seemed
You're not much of an 80s horror film, I feel like.
No, I'm not. See, that's
where I am.
That's where you live. Yeah, I know. That's where you
Yeah.
live. Or I'm like, I could do without that decade of horror. Didn't really do it for me. I don't hate a lot of it. I don't say like it was.
And I'm not even the right age to like 80s horror films. I didn't grow up with them at all.
No, you just you grew an appreciation for it. Like for me, I would say, even though I'm not really into 80s horror as much, it's much better than 90s horror.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
But I watch more 90s horror, and I would defend crappier 90s horror than 80s horror for some reason. Like Urban Legend, I defended it, even though I know it's crap. I know it's a terrible movie.
Are you more of a looking back at the 70s kind of guy?
70s? Is that what you said?
Are you a fan of 70s horror?
Yeah, I think that's, if I had to choose a decade of American horror, where I would, yeah. There's some of my favorites, the ones I go back to the most, are in that decade.
I need to see more. I mean, I've seen a decent amount, but I feel like I just haven't. I've seen an overwhelmingly amount of 80s horror and like 2000s horror.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I think because like 2000s, I was like kind of growing of age to be old enough to watch horror films,
Mm-hmm.
and in 80s was just me going back.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, Pete, I'll give you my numero. I'm on my 7th one right now, right? I think it looks like I got 3 more in here. I'll go.
Did we skip you? Did I say 2 in a row?
You didn't say 2 in a row, but I said Friday the 13th, and you had it on your list. So what, do you have 1 left?
I do have 1 left.
I'll do 2 in a row. So
Okay.
we'll both have 1 at the end. First one, A Tale of Two Sisters.
Ooh, that one's hard because I haven't seen it, and I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard good things. Oh man, I I want to say underrated because I want to say it's a vampire film, and you're very keen.
It's not a vampire film. I'll give you that.
So I got the wrong vibe then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, am I thinking of I'm thinking of Thirst.
Yeah.
Which I have seen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This one's more of a ghost one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Are you going with? What did you choose? Did you say?
I'm gonna say underrated still.
You're still batting 1,000, Pete. You're correct. Yeah, I think it's very, very underrated.
Man, if I was in baseball right now, I'd be fucking killing.
You'd be on the All-Star team, Pete. Everybody'd be offering you the highest contract. Yeah, no, it's a Korean picture, and I didn't know too much about it going into it. I'd heard about it, like you as well, Pete, and I loved it. I thought it kicked ass. It was the story was original to me. I mean, it's a ghost story, but sort of almost a ghost revenge story, to an extent, but the way it was filmed, especially, and the mise en scène, if I can, the atmosphere of the film was well put together. That it was just eerie. The house almost felt like it had a life of its own, obviously because it was a ghost story, but it was genuinely scary, I thought. And not many people know about it. Maybe it's a Korean film, but definitely people need to check it out.
Especially since, I feel like not even enough people even check out foreign films if you live in America.
True.
We don't really venture out too much, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is a shame. So if you're looking to branch out and see some foreign films, check out A Tale of Two Sisters, because it's great.
Check out a couple Korean horror films, maybe some French horror films if you want to get down and dirty.
Yeah. And if you're looking for another, I think, underrated horror film that's foreign, check out Let the Right One In. 'Cause it's great.
I would disagree.
Irrelevant. I'll go with I'll throw out my ninth one, I guess, because I have two left here. Saw, the very first one.
Another franchise that I haven't dipped into.
Yeah, have you seen any of them?
No, I've not.
You've not seen any of them. Okay.
Not at all.
All right.
I want to say, just because of the sheer popularity of this franchise, I want you to. It's probably overrated in your book.
Yep, you're right. It's overrated. Generally, I mean, I put the first one, but it was maybe an overarching of the genre. I mean, the franchise, like I did with Paranormal Activity. But I was talking to the first one. The sequels are, I mean, they falter as they go further. But the first one gets the most attention, clearly, because it was this new. There's possibly like a slasher or like a face to a horror franchise. But I was watching it again this year. I remember kind of enjoying it, and I just went. It falls short for me. It was a simple plot that didn't really, and it kept taking you out of it. That's one thing I hate, is when there's an intense sequence and it takes you out of it with like a flashback or something. That's like this whole movie, and it didn't live up to what I remembered it. And I think it's very overrated, especially for the popularity that's gotten.
I think it was just a very its whole era is pretty much dead. It feels like the whole Saw appreciation has pretty much they're still out there, but it's nowhere near as appreciated around the time 1, 2, and 3 were out.
No, I feel
there was so much. It was so popular at I don't know when that was. Probably 2006 or 2007. I want to say.
Yeah, it was around that time, and it was funny because you mentioned Friday the 13th. They came out every year. I remember Saw doing that. It was every Halloween.
Yeah, it was our version.
Mm-hmm.
It was one I just never got into.
Yeah, and I think that's why maybe I was drawn to it. It was it's a franchise that is in our time. I mean, Paranormal Activity is doing it. It's not the same kind of horror like Friday the 13th or Halloween was, where it's this slasher type villain, and it came out every year. And I was young. And I was
so naive.
I was naive, yeah. But Yeah, it just doesn't do it for me anymore. I think it's very overrated. With that being said, I think they're making another one, I heard. Even though the last one was like
Why?
the final chapter, I believe the last one was called like the end or something.
Yeah.
I heard they're gonna make another one. I read it somewhere.
This. Yeah. Is it a reboot? Is it a
Mm-mm.
sequel? Like, what's
Sequel.
going on?
Sequel. It's gonna be an additional one. So, Pete, now you can get into the franchise.
Yeah. Just another franchise, that has a shit ton.
Okay. Well, Pete, let's get your last one, Pete. Let's throw it in.
Yeah.
There. And then I'll.
Piranha 3D.
Oh. Well, if I was smart and did the math, I could narrow it down to which I could have known what this is.
Yeah.
But I didn't keep track.
I did not creep check either, so I have no idea.
Okay.
For yours.
I'm gonna say you think this is underrated.
Yeah, you got me.
Yes. Yes. Piranha 3D. The first one, right? And then
Yeah,
there's
the first one,
then there's
yeah.
Double D, correct?
Yeah, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
I think Piranha 3D is. I watched this movie at the fucking right time.
Yeah.
I think I watched it. I was like 18 or 19 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like a very gory horror film with a lot of boobs in it. And I was like, "This movie is so good.
This is the best movie. Yeah.
It is the best movie ever made." And then I rewatched it, like, I want to say a couple months ago, and I was like, "Damn, this movie's still really good."
Mhm. Because it's almost like I mean, you see the premise, Piranha 3D. So you think the killer's a piranha. It's in 3D, but it's like really aware of what it's doing. The film, like they know that it's kind of a joke, but it's like people are gonna laugh at it, but they know it's a horror film all at the same time. Because isn't Richard Dreyfuss in the beginning of that movie?
Yeah, he has a little cameo, and
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd's in it. You got
Yeah.
Vink Rhymes in it. It's so great.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would agree that movie is underrated. I enjoy Piranha 3D.
It's quite a modern classic.
Let's put it in the Criterion collection. All right, Pete.
With a sick cover art.
All right, Peter. We're gonna finish up just under an hour. But
Just a nice short episode.
a short mini episode that doubles the length of any episode we've done. But I think this was a good one, and I'll finish up here with my final one. If you can guess it, Pete. Hard Candy.
Ooh, another movie I haven't seen.
But you've heard of it?
I have.
Okay.
Pressure now, as I am
Oh, this is
9 for 9.
9 for 9, yeah. This is it. Can you do it?
And
I kind of want you to get it right.
ooh, this one's tough. I think you think it's underrated.
Pete, is that your final answer?
Yes.
Pete, you're 10 for 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did I do it?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like to thank the Academy.
Nailed every single one of mine. I'm proud of you, Pete. I'm proud of you. I don't know. I'll listen
Did
back.
you get half of mine at
That's
least?
what I was thinking. I'm going to listen back. I'm hoping I went 50-50. But, yeah, I think Hard Candy is underrated. Most people may not have heard of it. Or if you've heard of it, you haven't seen it. But it was on, I don't know if it's even, it might still be on Netflix. That's where I originally watched it. But it stars a young Ellen Page, a very young Ellen Page.
And is that no? That's not Charlize Theron. I'm thinking of Monster.
Yeah.
On that one,
Mhm.
yeah. Which I get those two confused. They're both like around the same time and
Mhm.
kind of like the same kind of advertised the same way.
Sure, yeah. But Hard Candy deals with the idea, I mean, he's like it gets gory. There's torture in it. But it just it was intense, very intense with the torture and the gore, and it just flips 180 when it happens. it's her, and I forget the guy's name. He's a pretty famous actor. He's what's his name? He plays the male Warren in like not Elizabeth Warren. What's the male Warren's name in like The Conjuring? And he's in Insidious as well. The dad in Insidious.
Oh, you thinking of Patrick Wilson?
I knew it was Wilson. I was gonna say Craig Wilson. Patrick Wilson. Yes, he is. It's Ellen Page and Patrick Wilson, and he basically finds her online, and he's sort of a sexual predator, and torture ensues from her side, and it's very brutal and intense. And
Yeah, that movie's been on my list for quite a while, and I've just either never thought to take the time to watch it because I always like, I know it feels to me like a more serious watch, and sometimes I was just like, man, I just want to watch something that's really fun.
Yeah,
and I don't really get that vibe from that movie. It just seems like a pretty intense, good movie that I was like, I need to be in the mood for this.
Yeah, you got to be in the right mindset to watch that movie. It's not a fun movie. It's intense. But that's my list, Pete. Hopefully we can do this again in the future. I had a good time doing it. We went on for a while, but I'll hopefully pick better next time as well. Not go.
Maybe we'll go about it a little differently by maybe listing, not guessing. I think is what. Maybe I did enjoy guessing it, but for time purposes, maybe we won't do it.
Yeah, just keep the listeners' attention span, and for time purposes especially. But that wraps up this episode. Thank you, everybody who listened and kept with us this whole time. We'll have this up, hopefully, again. I mean, that was a weird way to word that, but hopefully in the future we'll do this again, where we'll come up with 5 underrated, 5 overrated, because these clearly aren't the only ones on the list that we've thought are overrated or underrated. As well as we'll have another mini episode coming out next week with a full-length episode.
I don't know about sometimes we do next week, but we're on a bi-weekly basis. But
okay, in 2 weeks. Now, when you say when you say bi-weekly, Pete, do you mean twice a week or every 2 weeks?
Well, okay, if you're whatever.
I just hate the word bi-weekly because it's so confusing.
That means. I'm confused now too. I don't even know what it means. I'm questioning it.
Yeah. Well, we mean every 2 weeks, which it can mean, but it can also mean twice a week.
Okay, wow, that's just confusing.
Yeah. Well, every 2 weeks we'll come out with a mini episode.
Yeah, we've been productive lately, so we've been a little bit on the roll, but our regular schedule is every 2 weeks.
Yes, every 2 weeks, mini episode will come out. Along with
episode.
What did I say?
Well, you're making it sound like we're gonna have like an episode and a mini episode every
time.
2 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
Which is not always the case.
Yeah, mini episodes are more sporadic and peppered in, than our episodes are more to a schedule every 2 weeks.
Concrete, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be doing that every 2 weeks. Please tune in. Check out our website. It records podcast
on WordPress, yeah.
It records podcast on WordPress.com. We'll be getting our Facebook page up and our Twitter page up. Please get online. Let us know whose list you agreed with more. If there's some that you think are overrated or underrated, we'd love to hear your feedback. We'll have this.
Or who you hated more.
Yeah, who you just despised. It's okay if you say Pete. His feelings won't be hurt. And let us know, yeah, and start any discussions on our forums, and we'll tune in and check out our blogs. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I'll be back next week. Every 2 weeks. I'll get it right.
I'm Peter Hansen.
And I'm Matt Johnson.